Welcome back, YouTube. Another boxing talk with Renaissance here with Jay and your boy Greg. There's a big fight coming up that we're real excited about. I don't think it's a consolation prize at all to be having these two welterweights fight. Talking about Errol the Truth Spence and Danny Swift Garcia, and we wanted to break both of them down individually. And then later towards the fight, we can talk about prediction because there's a lot of stuff that can happen in the meantime. So I think we both agreed that we're going to start with Errol and Jay. What's your thoughts on Errol, man?
Man, I think, well, first let me start off by saying that I've always been a fan of southpaw fighters, being a left-handed person myself.
Right.
So I've always paid attention to him. Of course, your sweet peas and beyond. So one thing I always found very interesting about him was usually your southpaw fighters are more slicksters and very smart, intelligent fighters. Not to say that he isn't, but he's brutish with his intelligence, and I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that in a long time. Right. It's really good to see. So just kind of going with the flow right now, because I'm kind of feeling it right now, especially talking about Errol. I kind of feel like the person that he reminds me of the most would probably be Marvin Hagler, to be honest with you.
Oh, that's on point. I like that. That's on point.
Because he's rugged, super intelligent, very economical with his movement, knows how to fight long range, short range, inside, can bang, can box, can fight up with either hand in the lead. So he's probably, and I don't think we give him enough credit. I don't think we give him enough credit like we do with Crawford, with him being able. I think Crawford switches more often and just kind of toys with it rather than having a specific non-deviating plan like Errol Spence has.
Right. I like him too for a lot of those same reasons. And I didn't think about Marvin because what people attribute to his success a lot is his consistency, is his blue collar, work rate and mentality, not so much his power. And a lot of people say, oh, Errol was a power puncher, but we don't see him knock people out with one punch when you really think about it. You see him with like a workman type, performance, like Marvin Hagler.
Let me throw this in, and I just thought about this, and it's not going to be a big point, but it should catch. It's the type of person that that may not have had the easiest upbringing, but they had a father, and they saw him working hard, and that's just ingrained in them. You know what I mean? You got a lot of guys like that. Maybe not specifically fighters, but you see that in basketball players, like a dude like Jimmy Butler. Just grind. I'm about that action, but I'm very cerebral about it. You know what I mean?
About that action, but I'm cerebral about it.
Right.
Right. The dude breaks you down over time. The timing is good. The skills are sharp. He is not the fastest. He is not the strongest. He is not the tallest. He is not the longest. He is just really good in every area you need them to be. Oh, he gets hit a little bit too much. Oh, he is not, light of foot. Oh, he doesn't move around the ring enough, or a jab is not too fast. But he is doing all the right things consistently in order to beat you. And some of the fights are close. The fights will be close, but you feel confident midway through the fight or what have you, like, oh, my man gonna win. And one other thing, good chin, which leads me to the next point.
Hold on. Before you go on, I wanted to chime in. You know what nobody talks about? And I just thought about, I need to do this more myself before I even open my mouth about exchanges. When people say, oh, he's getting hit too much, explain to me what is happening when he's getting hit. Is he putting hands on the other person, or is he just standing there getting punched in the face? Nah, he's taking a punch to give you 2 or 3 that are usually harder than the one you just hit him with. So we need to give that context.
Right. I mean, it's a way to, we could break down every part of your skill set or tool bag that you're using during the fight, or the actual tactics you are using in your strategy.
Right.
The strategy is not the same as the tactics. The strategy is your overall breakdown of what you are going to do during this fight to be successful. The tactics are what you are using to, implement that plan. I want to outbox him the first couple rounds. But what are you doing? I might be moving laterally and I might be jabbing, going up and down, or I may be, he's a southpaw, so I'm going to be moving to my left so I would not run into his left hand. Those are the tactics to implement this strategy for the most part. But again, going to the next point, the things that you like about him, or if there are any cons, what fights did you see some of those things in? And I mean, what impressed you or caught your eye in those fights?
For me, the most eye-catching fight for sure was the what's my man from DC?
Lamont Peterson.
Lamont Peterson. That was where you got to see that we knew he was a dog, but it's like a meanness in him. Like he was punishing this man. You know what I mean? He was doing stuff that he probably didn't even have to do. He probably could have got him out of there earlier. He was toying with it and doing whatever he wanted to and was just trying stuff.
Right.
So yeah, and a lot of fighters can't do that. I would say there's only probably about 4 or 5 fighters in all of boxing that can do that.
Did you see like a mixture of some of the things you like? Like, did you see more aggression and less, of the tactics that you like, or did you see a good mixture of the tactics, the aggression?
I saw a good mixture of the tactics, but I saw bad intentions rather than a straight up and down strategy. It's like I'm gonna outbox you, but when I make you pay for something, I'm gonna make you not want to do that ever again in this fight.
Ever again.
Ever again in this fight.
Ever again.
He took every tool away from him systematically in a line. I'm taking that jab. I'm taking that straight right hand. You're not about to hit me with another hook. Matter of fact, in this round, you're not going to hit me with nothing, and I'm just going to walk around everything and pot shot you. And I wouldn't even say that's next level. That's just having such a comfort level in what you're doing. Matter of fact, I heard somebody talk about it in reference to basketball.
Right.
And I think that Bruce Lee said this as well.
Okay.
There's a certain level of athletic consciousness that they label flow. And when your body acts instinctively before your brain even recognizes that conscious thought. And I think that's what he's doing at that. Like he's thought about it before, but he's executed that so, flawlessly, honestly, throughout his short career, that it's not really a thought process anymore. It's just, I'm sidestepping this, I'm moving out of your range, I'm coming back in with something that you're not expecting because it's uncomfortable to throw, and I'm going to place my body in a position that I can throw anything I want to, and you can only throw about 2 punches out of, so I know what you're going to do. So it's a plan, a thought out plan from the beginning, but everything is so programmed that you don't have to think, and he can freestyle out of it. Right.
Similar to the work that Floyd did in the gym that made him so fluid. A lot of people didn't like the mitt work that Floyd does, but because
they don't know how to utilize it properly.
What's that?
They don't know how to utilize it properly. Everybody wants to go fast, but they don't know specifically why he's doing it and what he does after that and what he does before that.
Right. You need to punch to harm the object in front of you or to harm the fighter. Yeah, you do need to do that, but that's one of the many drills. You play football, we don't just do one drill. Oh, he doing that, what was the one drill in the combine that the linemen do a lot? Is the shuttle drill?
Yeah.
So you're doing the shuttle drill. Is that like lateral, side to side?
Well, it depends regionally what they call it, but I think what you're talking about is that lateral chop step over the heavy bags.
No, I was talking about running this way, running that way, and running back this way in like a short distance. But you're
yeah. It's that shuttle time, which is usually comparable to your 40 time.
Right, but if you look at a lineman doing that, it's like, man, you running straight through people. Why would you need to do that? It's not going to help you. That's one of the many drills that you do, Jay, as a lineman. And if they judge your potential as a lineman off that drill, they'd be inaccurate and they'd be short-sighted. Just like you see Floyd hitting these mitts, because that's what he showed you in that workout session, that's what he chose to show you, does not mean that's going to be a person that doesn't know how to punch with any power, doesn't know how to, use his hips and all these other things. So again, we kind of understood right off the bat what Floyd was doing in a similar way of just this perpetual motion, this continuation of going through your progressions. I catch a shot, I shoot this, I do this, he moves to the left, I move to the right, I roll, I slip, I pull, all these different things you do, as a human reaction to some stimulus from the opponent or dead time between the opponent, or as you're leading an opponent into something. Errol Spence, with his trainer, Derek James, is doing something quite similar in his mitt routine, which we appreciate. And with that, with those intentions, those bad intentions, people may be listening to this and, we're talking about these different attributes, but to really bring it home for Errol Spence as a southpaw, you have a guy that's sitting pretty much in his center of mass. He's not so much on the balls of his feet at all times, like on his toes leaning forward or leaning back. He's like in the center, kind of a wide stance. And he might be keeping you at bay just so he can have another split second to know how he's going to punish you the next split second. Not thinking about, I'm about to slip it. No, it's, I hit him with this combo. It's time for the next one. It's time to go to this side. It's open. It's time to go to that side because I need him to think I'm going back to the side, another sequence in the fight. But even when I come on this side, you're catching the body shot. And if you sit there, I might finish you at that point. Max Kellerman had something in when he's describing the fight. And I'm paraphrasing, but he was saying, you don't get a lot of guys that are this athletic, this fast, and use this to get a fight over early. You know what I'm saying? To get it over early. Like, yeah, maybe Sugar Ray did, but he did play some. And you did see Sugar Ray when he was in there with, guys like Marvin Hagler, guys like Tommy Hearns. The second fight with Roberto Duran, where he said, I got to get out the way for a little bit. We got to figure some things out. I got to get them tired or set them up for rounds later. And there were times where he just got rid of people. It seems like in every fight other than the Mikey Garcia fight, where he seemed like he just needed to prove a point, he went in there to get rid of the guy. I'm using my athleticism. I'm using my speed. I'm using my knowledge of the game and my intelligence and my amateur pedigree to get you out of here. And we of course, like that about him. So needless to say, we both, long story short, we have a fondness of Errol Spence. But going in this fight with Danny Garcia, any intangibles that you see that may affect the fight outside the ring or before this fight, or things in the past, things presently going on?
Not that we need to go in depth, but for those that don't know, Errol Spence was in I wouldn't say catastrophic, but a serious car accident where he was ejected from the car this past year. And so this will be the first fight since that recovery. Usually fighters that have any type of injury in any capacity usually take a tune-up or an easier fight before going back to that premier star level.
You're right about that.
So this is unprecedented. But to be honest, if there's any fighter that I had the confidence if there's any fighter that I was confident had the mental fortitude to pull this off, it would be a person like Errol Spence. He's not an overly complicated dude. He's that I'm going to grind. This is how I live my life. This is my lifestyle. I don't do nothing but grind, go home and take care of these kids in this farm, and this is what we do. Blue collar all day, every day. You know what I mean? So.
You know what? Do we have any fighters that we can take an example from that had something happen where it paused them for a long period of time? I know we have
physically or just anything.
Anything, but it'd be more relevant if it's physical. I know we have Keith Thurman. We have Floyd that took long layoffs. One time went to jail. We had Sugar Ray Leonard that took that long.
Well, some of Floyd's layoffs were because of his hands, but he wouldn't openly say that.
Right. We had Sugar Ray Leonard, who took a long layoff before fighting Marvin Hagler at like the age of 30, which is not that old.
but that was because of a detached retina, I believe. Yeah.
I mean, he fought some people after he his retina got worse. And I
Yeah,
think he got
I think it was a year after his retina got detached, and then Marvin Hagler tried to approach him when he was like in the middle of the ring giving a speech, and then he told everybody that he wasn't coming back, and then like a year after that, I think he came back.
Right, he fought somebody before he fought Marvin Hagler, so I don't know. Like you said, most people would take a tune-up fight.
Right.
And are we saying Danny Garcia is a tune-up fight? Or are we saying it's not a tune-up?
Well, here's the thing. It depends on what his game plan is. If his game plan is to come out here and demand a Pacquiao fight, and I'm not fighting nobody else, and the money better be right, this is a tune-up fight in that capacity. From his perspective.
From levels.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess Danny can take some disrespect in that. But to us, I don't think he should take that disrespect when you took some L's. That's your fault.
I mean, we can't take nothing away from Danny. He is a star. He's very respected. You know what I mean? Great reputation, great amateur background, great relationship with he and his father as far as the training situation, everything. But Manny Pacquiao is a superstar. Manny Pacquiao is an icon. That's a different level. That's where you put your LeBrons. That's where you put your Kobe's. That's where you put, you know what I'm saying? It's a different level, and it's obvious that it's a different level. You don't talk about Clyde Drexler and Jordan in the same conversation.
Yeah, you find out. Keith Thurman, you find out.
I love Clyde Drexler. I loved him my whole life.
You find out.
You know what I'm saying? So,
you can get that smoke. Right. Keith Thurman, prime example. He beat the guy. Was it more convincingly than Errol? Sean Porter, did Keith Thurman beat Sean Porter more convincingly than Errol Spence? I don't know, but that question is legitimate. And Danny Garcia, he already beat Danny Garcia. That guy came off a layoff due to some injuries and some other things, took a tune-up first, and then got mopped by older Pacquiao. So there's obviously levels out here. There's obviously levels. Whether his chin was weaker, his body wasn't conditioned the same way, whether he was gun shy, what have you. I don't think Danny Garcia has looked as good as he has since maybe his last big victory. And we'll get into that, the Danny Garcia tape review. But overall, we know, or we're saying that the car crash is a big variable. It's a huge intangible that's going to contribute to the outcome of the fight. So I can't wait to see it. I think we're going to expect the most out of Errol. We're going to expect him at 100% to really appreciate this fight.
Now, my last point on this before we transition is definitely going to be the perfect timing. And I didn't really think about this until we talked about it earlier today. But as far as a promotional management and just general great sports timing aspect, there's no better time for Danny Garcia to have requested this fight from Errol Spence. Number one, the hoopla about Sean Porter has died down a little bit. People respect him, but the rush from that fight has died down, especially after COVID. And then you have a situation where everybody else in the division isn't really making a whole lot of noise, except Errol Spence, because of the situation he's coming back from. So to call him out in this time, if he were to beat Errol, he's definitely the number one in the division, and he can fight absolutely anybody because some people see flaws in him. So he's going to get that big check regardless. He's not going to have to negotiate and do all of this jump through hoops. People are going to want to fight him immediately if he wins this fight.
Right. But that will conclude our video on Errol Spence. We're going to do another video about Danny Garcia. Make sure you guys like, you comment, subscribe, and share this within the boxing community. We want other people's thoughts, about our assessment of the fight. And I want to hear their assessment about the fight too. Renaissance. We out.